Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Love. Let's try that again. Ooh, got a little tongue tied there. Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we are doing our 2-year Podaversary.
Podaversary?
Yeah, it's an anniversary Podaversary.
No, I understand what you did. I just didn't like it.
You didn't? Oh, you didn't like my puns? Oh,
that's weird for me, but no.
Listen, it's a Podaversary. This
is going nowhere fast.
This is going great already for 2 years. You know the drill. We're so awesome. But before we're going to answer some questions that we have about the podcast and stuff this episode. But
we'll pretend they're reader questions, but really it's AI, right?
It is 100%. Yeah. Sorry, the corner of the rainforest I burned down to generate these questions.
I mean, you didn't print them.
AI uses a ton of energy to do things, though.
Okay, whatever.
Vive la France. I don't know. Long live France. Yes, that's it. Anyway,
this opening is something else. Can you believe you've been at this for 2 years? And this is what's coming with. This is the drivel that you're coming up with. And we know we just celebrated our 100th episode, and it seems silly to have another like celebratory kind of thing. But you know what?
2 years.
Who doesn't love a party?
Who doesn't love a party? Let's just jump right into the questions. I think we don't even have to talk about what's coming up. We're gonna do another episode next week where we'll talk a little bit about updates and things that have been happening in their life, because it's a lot of changes happening.
It's a lot of changes.
But until then, let's get into these questions. So first question, I'll start off the first question. What made you want to start this podcast in the first place?
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you.
Okay. You asked me to.
Yes.
No, I had kind of had a bit of I guess I'll say a turning point in my life a couple of years ago. And I was coming up on my 40th birthday. It was New Year's Eve. We were drinking a lot.
Yes.
We were sitting at our favorite haunt. We were sitting at Big Tide, and I knew that I had kind of decided that I was going to set a major goal for myself. And that goal was to lose 40 pounds before I turned 40. And my birthday is, of course, this month, March 11th. And this would have been obviously December 31st of that year. And I was telling you about this, like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to lose 40 pounds before I turn 40.
Like, yeah.
And it was actually your idea. I say actually, like that's surprising. It's not. You get a great idea and you're like, why don't we document this? Now, the real question is, what made you think of that, and why did you want to start this podcast?
So us doing a podcast rolls back to many years ago when Bros Night was a thing. I don't know if you remember this, but we were sitting around, me, you, and our buddy Nigel. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting around and we were doing news headlines, but in like Valley Girl talk.
Don't remember.
You don't remember? Oh my goodness.
No.
Yes. We were doing news headlines in Valley Girl talk. And I was like, we should do a podcast of news headlines in Valley Girl talk. Of course, that's a whole lifetime ago, and hilarious thought.
That is hilarious.
Could even happen.
Like totally.
But since then I've always wanted to do a podcast with you. So I was drinking, and what a great idea to do a podcast about.
Yeah, no, because like even in that moment, I suppose the logical side of me, like, how do we make that sustain into a podcast? I could hear my own logic creeping in because I'm a fun killer. Let's turn to the next question because there's quite a lot here.
Yes.
Isaiah, what's been the biggest surprise about doing this podcast for 2 years?
The fact that we're doing it for 2 years. I think that's probably the biggest surprise. Yeah, I think the fact that we are on 2 years is a huge surprise. I was concerned after 6 months if we would be able to keep continuing, and now we're 2 years in, and this is wild.
Is it because you hated me?
No.
I'm just joking. No. Biggest surprise for me is again that we've managed to, not to say that every episode's a gem, but managed to have some relevant topics.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes they're variations on the same topic, but I think that's reflective of what this kind of journey is like.
Heck yeah. What's a moment from the podcast that stands out to you the most?
Oh, that's a tough question. One of them that lives with me to this day is when your cousin was on and I made the realization that we had a mutual person in John Bond and his tragic passing, also on my birthday, I believe in 2021.
Yeah.
And making the realization that her talking about her cousin or brother, I can't remember, her brother was one and the same person, and having to restart the podcast because of a strong reaction. What about you?
I think and it's not necessarily a podcast moment, but it's something that stemmed from the podcast, was when Julia asked us to go on CBC. I was like, oh, someone wants us to do more. And then from that, Global was like, hey, we want to interview you. And that was a pretty big moment that I was it stands out to me for sure.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was our brush with fame about a year ago.
Our 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, exactly. How has the podcast changed the way you see yourself or me?
I think I'm more kind to myself. I think that's the biggest thing the podcast has done, is it's allowed me to have the conversation and be open to who I am and be more kind to myself.
I love that.
Of yourself.
You know where it's changed for me is really understanding some of the issues that men face that women don't, because often we talk about this kind of journey from a women's perspective, and a lot of the blogosphere, for lack of a better term, is focused on that. But one of the key things is talking about how, because once it was mentioned, I know that I've seen it many times over within families, is that familiar, like, hope, gotta lose a few, bro? And how detrimental that can be as well. Yeah,
that definitely, for sure.
And what's a lesson you've learned from a guest that really stuck with you?
Oh my God, we've had some great guests.
We really have
in the last 2 years. I think I gotta go back to Dr. Mike Palkey's one. I think that we had a lot of stuff we learned in that, and I think the big one that came away was that plateauing is normal, and that it's your body saying, okay, we've done enough, and then you have to do something. And it's changing your diet and changing exercise. It's not one or the other. Sometimes it's got to be both.
Right. Yeah. I can't think of a particular lesson from that, but I do quote that episode all the time. And it is one that if you haven't listened to it, even though it's a year old, the information is not stale. Right. It's two really great episodes. The ones with Dr. Mike, he's an expert, and he knows what he's talking about. And it's not shame inducing. It's just like, yeah, medically, this is that. And like a couple of the stats that I teach people, I don't teach people anything, but that I do remember is like 78.8% of weight loss is food and what you consume. However, maintaining weight loss is about exercise. And so they really, like, to reiterate what you just said, they really do work part and parcel. And that is a lesson that I've been thinking about quite a lot.
Heck yeah.
These are the funny and lighthearted questions, according to the AI transcription. If we had been organized, we would have like gotten a guest host.
Okay, yeah, well, that involves us actually pre-planning and
not
doing an actual work. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, ready? Here's some funny ones. All right, what has been the funniest moment of our podcast so far?
I can't.
Or a blooper. Do you remember anything that we've done that I've had to like wipe out?
Yeah, so many, but I can't think of the particulars around them. I know that I've definitely said, please don't put that in. I make funny faces. You know what I remember? This is when we first started this, there's been a couple of complexes that you've given me through your editing process. One, you told me that I never smiled during an episode, which is so bizarre to me because I smile like a mad fool all the time. And I've started to make, ever since then, this is like a year and a half ago, I've made a conscious effort to make sure I smile for a prolonged period of time so I don't end up with a dumb picture cut out on the screen for YouTube. What about you?
There have been many moments where I have messed up our intro. And like we did it, I literally did it this episode. You won't see that part, but it's a blooper. And I have messed up our intro on more occasions than I can count. And it's been 2 years and I still do it every so often.
Oh, well. If we could do a do-over on one episode, which one would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think this is something we can probably go revisit. I would like to do another episode with Nigel. I think if we could go back and redo that, which I think we can just do a new episode for. I think there are some things that I would have touched on more or talked about more.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely for me.
I feel like that's one as well, because I think that turned into bro night on a podcast. And I don't know if it translated well to listeners, and nobody's fault in particular. I tend to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'd wonder if there were more topics and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was only ever included to the one part of bro night, to be clear, for anybody who's like, why is this chick hanging out on bro night? She's a pick me girl. I was just always at Big Time, and that's where bro night started. I never went on to the next part of bro night,
which was usually Brits, because Tuesdays was $5 draft at Pitt.
Okay, I went home.
Yes.
Well, what's the weirdest and most unexpected topic we've ever covered?
The weirdest and most unexpected, I think, was the categories one. That was really weird to me.
Oh yeah? I liked that episode.
It was a good episode. It was just a weird and unexpected episode for me. I don't know. I was more contentious in that episode than I've been in most episodes.
Yeah.
I think that was a weird episode to me.
For me, I wouldn't call this weird, but an unexpected episode would have been the one with Becky about talking about the plight of people who struggle with their weight, being underweight. And I thought that was really important to see this is why I don't think it's weird. I thought it was a very important episode to see the lines between the similarities between the two.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting episode for sure.
Mind expanding.
Yeah. Which episode do you think our families were the most shocked to hear?
I don't think I can shock my family. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think I can shock my family either. I don't think there was an episode that my family would go, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't think I can shock them.
No, don't think so either.
Yeah. If we had to rename the podcast to match our personalities, what would we call it?
Oh my God. Besides Kate and Isaiah Living Large?
Yeah, I don't think there is a way to. I think that does match our personalities.
Two goofballs in a room.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't think of a different name for our podcast.
This is who we are.
This is the 100%. Who's more likely to completely forget we're recording and say something totally unfiltered?
I think we can both do that.
I think so too. I think we're just totally unfiltered most of the time anyway.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think
there's not really a whole filter going on over here.
There's not a lot of filter here. Yeah, no, there's.
My God, part of it is I think we strive to try and be as open as possible.
Open and genuine and authentic. That's our. I mean, I don't think it's our goal, but I don't think we have to work that hard at it.
No, I don't think so either.
If our podcast had an official mascot, what would it be and why?
It would 100% be my cats. No?
Well, I thought about this because you sent me these questions in advance. And yeah, your cats definitely, like, because they're here. And one time one got trapped in the room with us.
That's right. Not even that. Not even one of the cats I have now. One of the cat that was Franny.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Poor Franny.
R.I.P. I was gonna say a cow.
A cow.
Because
we're milking the ever living shit out of this.
That. Also, They're black and white. Also, they tell moving stories.
You said my Podaversary was bad.
I know.
Oh my god. This might be the end of us. Who's more likely to go off on a wild tangent and forget the original topic?
Both of us.
You are way more likely to go.
I would never forget the original topic.
Would you?
No.
Okay.
And you've also gone on wild tangents, mister.
Well, only because you prompted him.
Which one of us would be better at hosting a game show based on the podcast?
Me. Not you. You should not host a game show at all.
Host trivia for 10 years.
Point taken.
Oh,
Chris, hire me.
That was rude.
Moving on, personal growth and connection questions.
You said that too quickly. Let's go back to that last one.
The answer's me.
No, it's not.
I don't care that you host something. I would be a better game show host.
Like, I was going to say you too, but I don't want to now.
See? I am.
You know why?
Why?
Because you lack personality.
Oh, I see how it is. Okay. Sure.
I'm just joking.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Oh, I'm shutting it down. Personal growth and connections. How has doing the podcast changed our friendship?
Well, in the last 30 seconds.
A lot.
I think it would have ended it. Not really, though.
I think we get to hang out more. I think we're closer than we have been before. I mean, we were friends before, but I think we're definitely partners in crime now.
100%. And like, you've really become one of my closest friends through this process.
Yeah.
And when things happen, I'm excited to tell you about them, but then I wait, I save it till the podcast so that we can have this like repartee. So we only talk every 2 weeks, even though I think about Isaiah all the time in a non-creepy way, but like, this will come up in our next update episode, but he's been going through some stuff lately, and like every day I'd look at job listings and be like, oh, I wonder if there's any that fit, and genuine care for you and Andrea both. And really, I can't imagine, regardless of what happens with the pod in the end, I can't imagine our friendship going away.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless we have an open competition for a game show
host, and then I will win, and you'll be very upset that I am the best game show host.
What's one thing you've learned about me through this podcast that surprised you?
I think there's a lot we've learned about each other. That I've learned about you in your younger years that I didn't know. I think we had conversation about, because when I was young, I was really skinny. And so I never had the experiences that you had at that young age and so there's some stuff that has come that surprised me in that aspect of things. So.
Yeah. What surprised me about you is how sensitive you are.
Not sensitive.
No, really. And that how sensitive, and not to make you the token man, but how sensitive men can be.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like, in a way that, like, I always knew you're very nice and very empathetic, but like, even like going back to the episode about men like giving each other a hard time about weight gain and stuff like that, I've seen that play out in my family, and it never really seemed to bother anybody. And maybe that's on me for not noticing that, but how like these things do stack up and hurt.
Yeah.
And I just wish you'd stop crying all the time. Just joking.
All tears right before we start, and then and then when we finish the episode, I cry some more, and
then I slip on the tears on my way out.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
Get me out of here.
How do you think we've both grown personally since we started?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go back to something you said earlier about being kinder to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's changed for me as well. And I think that's a really positive thing in personal growth. How about you?
Yeah, same. I think that's the biggest one is definitely being more kind to myself. And I think more, not that I wasn't empathetic before, but I think more empathetic and understanding now than I was before.
Yeah, probably me too. Although, yeah, we were both pretty empathetic going into this. Otherwise, this probably wouldn't have started.
Yeah, truth.
What's something you're proud of me for? Nothing.
I'm trying to narrow it down. I think that I've seen you grow in a way that I feel you feel more motivated than before. I think we've had some setbacks, we've had things like that, but I feel like I've seen you pick yourself up faster and faster every time we've had a setback. I think that's the thing that I was proud.
Oh, that's really nice, Isaiah. I am proud of the way that you face adversity wherever it comes. Like you've been knocked down a little bit in the last little while, and to see you handle it with such a plum and really in an inspirational way. Like I've taken lessons from the way you've handled the last couple of months of how I will handle adversity in the future, because you are just you're such a calming presence regardless of what situation you're in. And you really you are what you say you are. Does that make sense? Like,
no, 100%.
It's there's nothing inauthentic about you.
Like that. Thank you.
Welcome.
What's the hardest part about keeping this podcast going?
Oh, the timing.
Yes.
And it's only about to get worse.
Yes, that is only going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
100% is just trying to find the time, because we're both very busy people.
But you know what? That's what makes it work too, is because we keep making the effort to do it.
That's right. Yes. We're just both very busy people. And with the stuff we're going to talk about next episode, it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
What's a dream guest you'd love to have on the podcast?
That is a really good question. Now there's a couple. I think I'm gonna go personal for this one.
Okay.
And I would love to have my mom on to talk about generational issues with weight and weight loss, and talk about some of our relationship and her own journey, because she's had an amazing journey herself on this thing, and the worry that comes with having a daughter facing these issues, and how to manage that as a parent, like, and what to say and what not to say. And none of us are always right in how we handle things in families, and doesn't mean anybody is, even a bad person or anything like that. I just think it would be a really powerful episode that would resonate very well.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, that would be my dream guest. What about you?
Heck yeah. I have two. One, I would like to have some form of celebrity on.
Yeah, that was the other direction I was going to go.
I'd like to have Julia on.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. I think those are very achievable things.
That was one that I'm gonna put Julia into celebrity status.
Yeah, she is
local
100% a celebrity.
Local celebrity. And two, I would like to have a nutritionalist on.
I'd love to have not a nutritionist. I would love to have a dietitian on.
That's the one I want. Medical diet. Yes, that's the one.
Like, let's keep it.
I want to know about macros. I want to know about proteins. I want to know about
what matters,
and that kind of thing.
I actually think that's I have some dietitians in my back pocket. I think we can make this happen. Ooh. You wouldn't know it from looking at me. What's one topic if we haven't covered that you really want to?
Oh my God. We cover everything. I listen, these topics are typically on the fly.
If there's something that other than the generational, that generational discussion for me, that would be That would be one that I'd love to speak about, and I'd love it to be with my mom, but if not her, someone who could speak to that topic.
Yeah, I think then the same thing goes to like the guest. I think having a dietitian on and talking about the food side of it is something I would love to have a topic on.
Yeah,
with someone other than just us having our general unknowledged discussion.
100%.
What do you hope the podcast looks like in 2 years from now?
A narrower angle.
Woo!
You?
I would 2 years from now. Honestly, I would like to change our setup, the way we film, the way we record. A lot of it is in the back end of things that I would like it to look different. And I would like to either myself be a better editor or maybe, somehow make it financially stable to be able to have someone actually edit for us. Because
man, if we had a producer and an editor,
oh my goodness, we would be excellent.
We'd be so famous.
I know. We would find someone that wants to volunteer to edit and produce.
Good luck.
That would mean we'd have to pre-record a lot more.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. If we could take the podcast on the road, where would you want to record?
Oh, Big Tide would be kind of fun because of the meaningful place for both of us. And it'd be fun to just do it. Like if there was a way to just like record a couple hours at Big Tide and what a conversation with Chris is like, and give that whole,
we could make that happen.
It would be so hard in the editing suite. The extraneous noises in a bar.
Oh, we'd have to do it on a Sunday evening when they close early. And we would just be Chris as a guest at Big Tide.
Yeah. But that to me would be really fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
I kind of had talked about this before, but I want to do a few adventure episodes. So I want to go and us learn burlesque dancing together, or go and learn how to pole exercise. I would like to go and do excursion episodes. I think those would be fun. I would
love if, what would be great too, is to have a sponsor or multiple sponsors support those things for us, and make it like a whole gimmick.
Yeah.
And, marketing for them and
100%.
And just be like, okay, cool. And we'll go in and we will it will be naturally funny because we're naturally funny people, but take it seriously so that it's not like,
no, 100%.
And yeah, if you're listening to this and you happen to own a gym or, whatever, we're open to sponsorships.
It's true. Or you're a workout coach and want us to show up at a gym somewhere and film us trying to do a workout.
Yeah. Or we're willing participants in whatever.
Very much so.
Now, last question. This is a great question, Isaiah. Thank you, AI. What's one thing you'd like to tell us from 2 years ago when we first started? Talk to yourself like you were a little girl.
If I could go back in time and talk to myself, I would say, don't worry about buying that first editing program. That was dumb. That would be one thing.
It's very practical.
Listen, it was a good editing program at first, but I found a better one that's free. So, yeah. And then I think, from a personal note, I think maybe, don't be afraid to be more open. I think that was something. I think that's something that if you go back and look at the first couple episodes, it was very much stingent and kind of rigid, and us trying to just have a rigid conversation versus now where it's a little bit more fluid. I think
that's good.
What about you?
I'd say keep it up. Even if you've already nearly accomplished your first goal when you start the podcast, which is what was true of me. I had almost accomplished my goal already. prior to starting, because I actually think I had lost 40 pounds.
Yeah,
but I had just hit that 40 pound mark when we started the podcast, and that was the whole reason. But it's more about the long-term journey, less the short term.
Yep.
And part of me knew that then, but it's become abundantly clear because life happens, and I'm very sorry about my phone.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think over the last 2 years we have learned a lot about ourselves, each other. I've definitely learned a lot about editing.
You have, you know what? This podcast wouldn't exist without you. It truly wouldn't.
And I'm thankful for, like, it's crazy. I would never have thought 2 years would come and go and we would be doing this.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been a fun 2 years.
Heck yeah. Stressful 2 years, but a fun 2 years.
Yeah, totally stressful.
Hopefully another awesome year to come. More guests, more fun to happen, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and if you ever want to be a guest and you're just like, oh, I just have this idea, look at Aaron. Aaron was a great guest last 2 weeks. Like, I almost said snaps for Aaron. I've never said that in my life. What's wrong with me? But she was incredible, and I've had a lot of great feedback about those 2 episodes. And she was a stranger to both of us. Yeah. So if you happen to just be aware of this podcast, or you're listening and you think, oh, my friend really wants to do this, like, don't hesitate to reach out. Aaron just said to my sister, can I be on your sister's podcast? And Kelsey texted me, and it was done within 5 minutes.
Yeah. And we're open. Like, if there's a subject you want us to talk about, or something you want us to touch on, we're also way open to that stuff.
We need ideas, is what we're saying.
Yes, 100%. You can either leave it in the comments section, or I believe if you go to the YouTube channel, you can find our email address if you just want to email us. Of course, we have our Facebook as well. You can always message us through there as well.
And if you just know us, you can just tell us.
Yeah, it's true. But I think that is a wrap.
Where can people find you on the internet, Isaiah?
Well, I am at Maritime Brews on all of the social medias. That's where I do my beers and my politics, which is a weird combo. I mean, it's not really, but it is.
Sudsy.
And then, of course, at Tweak the Prophet on also social medias, and Twitch for all my gaming and movies. And the Oscars is the Sunday of recording this, so I'll probably be doing a lot of talking about movies.
But that'll have already happened by the time you hear this episode.
It's
Congratulations, true. Conclave.
No, Anora.
Whatever. I haven't seen any of them. Was Barbie nominated this year?
No, not this year. No.
People can find me at Fat Caitlin on TikTok, at Kate D on Instagram. We're at Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook, and I'm Caitlin Dean.
And of course, we have the Buy Me a Coffee still going. If you would like to donate for some new equipment for us, as well as if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff, like, share, subscribe there, or jump on over to YouTube for the video. And on YouTube, if you could also like, share, subscribe, comment, that goes a long way to helping us reach other people. And of course, thank you for listening for 2 years.
Yeah, really
appreciate it. And we will talk next week.
Bye.